So the interdependence of organ systems, that is the end of our lesson, and it is the big takeaway. So this is what we're working towards for the past 3 weeks, to be honest, I guess. And you should be able to connect all this learning together. So here I have 3 systems on play. I have you should be able to tell me what they are at this point. But this one here represents the respiratory system. This one here represents the circulatory system. This one here represents the digestive system. So it's important to understand that none of these systems rely or work by themselves. They all rely on another system to do what they need to do. So with the respiratory system, what it does is it's going to take in oxygen. The oxygen comes in to the respiratory system, and then there are these blood vessels, right? And the blood vessels are, coming from the heart, let's say. Let's get this circle here. So as the oxygen comes in here, if it wants to be transported to the foot or the brain, it's got to enter the circulatory system. So now it enters the circulatory system, and it can, the heart will pump it wherever it needs to go, and it's going to be pumped all around the body. And then when there is no more oxygen left, it will go back to the lungs, the carbon dioxide, and it'll be expelled. Same with our nutrients. When you guys eat your nutrients in the digestive system, it comes in and it goes into the undo that. It goes into the small intestine. It goes into the small intestine. And in the small intestine, the nutrients can't stop there. They need the circulatory system to move the food around the body to the brain and to the toes. So the circulatory system is actually the linchpin. It's the one that connects everything together. So the respiratory system relies on the circulatory system. The digestive system relies on the circulatory system. The heart, which is a part of the circulatory system, it needs nutrients. So the heart needs to be able to pump nutrients from itself, from the blood supply, back to itself as well. So let me do the circulatory system. That's the one system that I'll cover. So if I take my heart here, and I'm going to put the heart into 4 pieces. Okay. And the heart is connected. Oops, that's a little big. The left side here, this is the left. The left side top is connected to the left side bottom. This is called the atria, and the bottom is called the ventricle. Right? So this is the left atrium. And this is the left ventricle. And this is the right atrium, and this is the right ventricle. Okay? So what happens is the blood, let's make it this red thing here, moves from the left atrium through this special little valve to the left ventricle. And then there's this big giant blood vessel called the aorta that leaves the left ventricle. And it brings blood to smaller blood vessels, which are still pretty large, called arteries. And these arteries then break down the smaller blood vessels, and these smaller blood vessels are called arterioles. And then these smaller, tiny little arterioles, they'll feed into these little blood vessels that are only a single cell thick. And these are called capillaries. And the capillaries are what feed into your organs, and it could be any organ. This organ here could be the heart itself. This organ here could be the muscle of the leg. It could be your brain, and it delivers, at this point, it delivers oxygen. along with nutrients, potentially. But we're focusing on the oxygen, so I shouldn't have put that in. All right. And now that the oxygen is delivered, the carbon dioxide, it gets dumped into these other capillaries. And so where these capillaries join together, we call that a capillary bed. So they deliver oxygen, they pick up carbon dioxide, the waste, it goes in. Whoops. Okay. The oxygen comes out, right? And now these capillaries, what they do is they feed into, coming from all over this place, in these little tiny blood vessels called venules. So you get all these capillaries feeding into a single venule. And then these venules, coming from wherever they're coming from, will feed into a larger blood vessel known as a vein. And then these veins here will feed into each other, coming from all sorts of parts of the body. And the largest vein will feed into this big giant vein that goes into the heart. And that vein, that big giant vein, is called the vena cava. Right? So now the blood is returned back to the heart. But what's the problem? This blood has no oxygen, so we're missing something. So this blood now leaves the right atria, goes to the right ventricle, and it comes out another blood vessel out of this part of the heart, known as the pulmonary artery. Pulmonary artery. And this pulmonary artery, it goes to the lungs. And at the lungs, the pulmonary artery picks up oxygen and it feeds into the pulmonary vein. And now we have oxygenated blood again. And this is the process. So you can replay that for yourself if you like. This is the one system I'm going over because the circulatory system is the linchpin. It's what connects all the other things together. Right? Once you have a basic understanding of the circulatory system, and here are the major parts, and how the heart plays a role in the lungs, like this is not just the circulatory system, it's also the respiratory system, and I can connect the digestive system in here as well. So let me interconnect all these systems together. If I'm interconnecting all these systems together, well, let's start again. Interdependence, right? This is the most important part. So I need to breathe. So when I breathe, oxygen is going to come in, right? So I'm going to say that this is my respiratory system here, right? And as the oxygen comes in, it needs to enter the circulatory system. And the circulatory system, it's going to deliver the oxygen to, the organs. And eventually, the circulatory system will deliver carbon dioxide, whatever, to the respiratory system to release it. Okay? So I need to have a certain direction here. So let me just give myself some arrows. And let's say it's moving in this direction. This direction. Oops. It's an arrow. Moving in this direction. Okay? So we also need the digestive system to work here, right? That's the respiratory system here and the circulatory system in this circle. I need the digestive system to work here. So let's say I have the digestive system. Right, here's my digestive system. It's just a big tube. And in this big tube, we're going to have food coming in. So let's say the food and the nose are in the same area. So in comes my food. And so the respiratory, digestive system is going to dump nutrients into the circulatory system so it can circulate around the body as well. We're also going to have waste. We have waste that we don't want in the body. The body has to get rid of them. So we need a special system known as the excretory system. I don't know if you can see that yellow very well. But the excretory system is going to remove the wastes. And this is going to produce your urine. So you're going to pee this out. So that's your excretory system, and I will not do it in yellow because I know I can't read it barely. So excretory. I got my circulatory. I got my respiratory. I have my digestive. So here, what have I done? 1, 2, 3, 4. I've interplayed 4 systems together. Each of these systems relies on the other system in order to work properly. If I wanted to, I could start piling on a whole bunch of other systems which you have not learned about yet. Okay? So let us look at some of those other systems. Right? So there's my diagram. I've talked about it. It's all nicely captured for you. You can put it into the Google Doc. You should know at least 2 other examples. And on the following slides, I've given them to you. So I'm not going to talk through it because I've talked way too long already. Hopefully you didn't listen to this all in one sitting, that you've spread it out over several days. Each of these little packages are, I think I left them in 20-minute packages. So you can listen to one a day or however, whatever you see fit. But your systems, they play with each other. When you are scared or nervous, it's not just about one system. Your nervous system needs to detect the fact that there's something chasing you, and your hormones are released that that stress you and cause your muscles to come into play and allow you to escape, right? Or maybe it's about maintaining your fluid and pH balance. When you are hot, you're playing a sport. Hint, hint, if I was going to ask you a question. You need to make sure that whatever water you lose, you're putting back into your body. And you lose water just by breathing, but you also lose water by sweating. And your circulatory system moves water around, and your integumentary system keeps water in, and so on and so on and so on. Your digestive system allows you to take water from your food and from what you drink. So there's a lot of systems in play. For movement, you have your skeleton, which has the muscles on top of it. And a lot of your hormones are actually held in your muscles as well. For your immune system, which we care about really right now, right? This is why you guys are stuck in your home, not going anywhere. Your immune system, your first line of defense is your skin, your integumentary system, your eyes with the tears, your saliva, which has antibacterial properties, your gastric juices in your stomach, and so on and so on and so on. Oops. And then if something breaks past your skin, then you have your inflammatory response. You have certain kind of white blood cells, macrophages that will try to get anything that doesn't belong in there and just gobble them up. And if it is, particularly nasty, like a flu virus, then your T cells and your B cells will start to come into play, your second line of defense, and a week or 2 later, hopefully you'll be able to fight off whatever is hurting you. Cardiorespiratory system, I talked about in detail. That was the oxygen coming in and then being circulated around your body. So, I'm going to read this with you. All of your organs are influenced by all of your food and lifestyle choices. That includes smoking, vaping, eating properly, exercise, mental health. All these things play a role in your homeostasis and how all your systems work together. There's virtually no way to affect just one organ system via a specific diet or therapy, no matter what you hear in the news. Whenever one of your organ systems improves or declines in health, the rest will also follow suit to some degree. So, it is very important that you stay healthy to keep your body healthy. Right? On this last page, I show you a whole bunch of different of these examples put together, and that is the lesson for the week. So you have major concepts of, let's repeat, cells being able to build the tissue, being able to build into organ systems. Organ systems are interdependent. Cells are non-specialized at the beginning, a stem cell or a meristematic cell. They can then specialize in the very specific types of cells. And then those cells have a role as they form the tissue, and so on and so on and so on. So now you have a whole story. Finish this Google Doc, submit it. You're doing the micro debate, find a partner, and you'll do that in the discussion forum. And then, of course, you're going to be working on the major task where the marks are going to be associated with this at the end, for the end of next week. All right, there was one last thing I did want to show you. There's some websites that you'll see links to, but I want to show you these 2 in particular. One of the links you'll see at the end of the Google Doc is this place called the Inner Body, and I use it for all the senior classes as well. So if you're trying to learn about any of the systems, if you click on cardiovascular system, for example, you can go into this Explorer, and Explorer does an amazing job of looking at any single part of the organ systems in a lot of good detail. So if I want to explore, I can put my mouse on top of things, and then that will focus on that region. It'll give me more information about that region. I can expand, and then I can find out more details about the organs of that region. Right? So if I want to find out something about this part of the heart, I can click on it, and then it will tell me what's there and give me more details. So that's a great site. So play with that. Another really good site, and it's free currently with this pandemic, you'll find there's a lot of sites about education that are free or much reduced in price. And this is the Biodigital Human Map.